So in our last video, we have separated the valid and invalid data and written them into respective timestamp folders. So let's go back to our diagram and see what we have completed till now. We have read the data for 4th and separated them as held and valid data along with the suffix as 4th hold data and 4th valid data. You can see here in the output hold data for 4th and valid data for 4th. Now let's consider the scenario for next day where we have to consider the landing data as well and the previous hold data as well. So let's see what went on held yesterday. Yesterday was 4th. So these were the records that went on held yesterday. That is sales 003, 008, 010 and 018. 3, 8, 10 and 18. These were the 4 sales. For missing some values, they went on held. Now for today, there are chances for getting new records obviously, and there are chances for getting an update on any of them. So let us create a sample data set where we will have some new records and some updates for the previous records. I have created one sample data set and you will obviously get this in the course content. Just follow the same folder structure that I am doing. So in this new data set, you can see we have few new records. As in yesterday's day, you have seen we have received the data till sales 20. There were 20 records. So in today's data, we have some after that. That is 31, 32, let's say any number after 20. 21, 25, anything is fine. You can try it out on your own. I have mentioned like 31, 32 and 33. So obviously these are the new records because we don't have anything like 30s in the previous one. And you can see there are 2 records, 3 and 10. So obviously these are the records that were held yesterday. You can see here in yesterday's held file, 3 and 10. These are the held records. Totally there are 4, but today we have received the updates for 2 of these. 3 and 10. So initially for 10, the vendor ID was missing. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4th column. Vendor ID. This was missing. That is the reason it went on hold. Now closely look at what updates we have got. So for record 10, you can see the vendor ID was missing. That is 1, 2, 3, 4th column. 1, 2, 3, 4th column. That is vendor ID. This was missing. For that reason, it was on hold. This one, 10. We have received the vendor ID. So now it should be valid. Rest of all, let's see if it is same or not. Yes, rest of all is same. Now another update we have received for 3. So for 3, the quantity sold was missing. So quantity sold also we have received. But we have not received the vendor ID in today's. But obviously in the previous day already we have sent the vendor ID. So tricky thing here is what we have to do. Let me separate here. If in current data or in the updates being received, if any column is not received but it was received already in the earlier record, then obviously we cannot ignore that because maybe it's fine today it is not received, but we already have the data in our system. So we cannot just go ahead and consider this entire thing and remove whatever we have received in our system earlier. What we have to do, we have to consider in case the data in current file, or understand it like, suppose take an example for sale. Suppose day 1, column A, so let's suppose 2 columns are there. Understand it and then we'll go back to the actual scenario. Day 1, column A was null. Column A had some value as 2, B was null. Now day 2, we did not receive any update on, we received null as column A and B as 5. So now final result would be 2 and 5 because first day B was missing, second day B was received and A was not received, which was already received on first day. So final result should be 2 and 5. This is the actual scenario. Also in day 2, if any updated value for column A comes, let's say it comes as 4. Now this is the latest data. So latest data, if for column A they are sending something, that means that is the actual value. because this is considered to be an update. Even if now if we keep the value as 2, business might say that you have not considered the update completely, correct? So just one of the use case you can understand for now. Apart from that, code is already with you, you can play around, but understand this use case. This is the very important use case in sort of sales domain and e-commerce domains, where we have to consider the incremental data so efficiently. So in this case, the R value should be 4 and 5 because this is the update, and even if we don't get any updates, in that case it should be 2. I hope that makes sense. So as of now, let's only consider these 2 updates we have received. So what we will do, let's save it, and right now let's suppose we have got another data for today. Let me copy this same thing, and that will be for today. And let's copy all this data where 3 records are new, 2 are updates, and apart from all this, this is the record for next day. Let's save it, and our current day is 5 and previous day is 4th as usual. Now along with the input data that we have separated as invalid and valid, we also have to read the whole data of previous date. So let's say previous whole data, reading previous whole data. So data will be read in the same way as we have read the landing zone. The data will be previous whole data, and schema for this also it is same as the landing file. We haven't changed or added any column. In future point of time when we will be adding some more columns, that is also one of the case that while creating a new data frame, we'll add some new columns. In that case our schema will change, but as of now it is the same. Delimiter is this. If you remember, while writing the invalid data, we have made the header as true. So first, that is why the data is written along with the column. So while reading this, we have to ignore the first line, that is a header. So while reading, we have to tell Spark that you have to ignore the header. So delimiter is fine. Control D to duplicate, and here we have to mention header as true. Now from where we have to read? This is not the input location. The file is there in the output location, which is already in our config file. So let's take it from there, output location. From there we have to read where we have written this whole data, and we have written them in the current day suffix, but we have to read it from the previous day suffix. So this is the beauty of handling the paths with the dates. So you can see here, once you uncomment this, as you know in the previous session I have told you why I have commented this. Once you uncomment, this will provide you new timestamp suffix on every day run. So you don't have to take care of doing the things manually. So every day what it will do, it will read the landing zone from the current day and the held zone from the previous day. Now we have the landing file and we have the previous hold file. What was our scenario? We have the landing file and now we have the previous day file. Now we have to consider in this way the final value, what it will be in case the first the latest value, that is day 2, it is null. Then we have to consider the previous one, and in case it is not null, then we have to consider the same value. So let's see how to do that. After reading this, let us name this as some refreshed zone, refreshed landing zone, that is the landing plus old held with the proper scenario. So refreshed landing zone or landing data. Now it will be, now either you can do joins in using, now obviously for considering these two data we have to make a join on these two data frames. Now you have multiple options. You can use the joins using the generic Spark APIs, but these days most of the project and almost all of the Spark operations are moving to the Spark SQL. Also most of the Spark's professional certifications and Spark organization interviews, you will be asked most of the Spark SQL related questions. So we have already seen few usages of Spark APIs like filter. Now let us see how we use the Spark SQL. So for Spark SQL, reading or joining any data, whatever data you are joining, that should be registered as a table or a view. So right now we are going to join the landing file and previous hold file. So these data frames should be registered as a view. So landing file df dot create or replace temp view, and any name you can give. There is no compulsion, ABC, XYZ, anything. Just to have a proper reference, I'll give the same name. Just make sure this and this are not related. You can mention anything here and that will be a view for this data frame. So I am mentioning the same. In same way, let me register the previous whole data as well. Now you can use referring this particular name in your Spark SQL queries. How you mention Spark SQL queries? Spark.sql. And after that, you have to mention entire query in your quotes. Now again, my same advice. I have already told you how to read everything from config file. If you want, you can mention the SQL query here. Otherwise, the same way as I have told, you can mention the SQL query in your config files and read it directly from there if you don't want to clutter the space here. So understand this, how we create a new data set in Spark SQL. We have to gather the collective columns. So if you fire a simple query, select star from previous whole TF. So it will consider all the columns from previous whole DF and all the columns will go inside the refresh landing zone. This will again be a data frame. Make sure the Spark SQL returns a data frame. So this is also a data frame. Now what we have to do, we don't want all the columns. Yes, sure, we want few columns as it is, sale ID and whatever business has given us, few columns we want as it is, or we don't have any particular requirement for that. Just things we are considering here is quantity sold and vendor ID. So what we'll do, we'll take all these columns, sale ID, product ID, this we will take as it is. We will remove the star, sale ID, product ID, and we'll remove the from previous. Now let's see from where we have to gather this. And to properly beautify the query, you can easily press enter here. So PySpark will take care of this, all the indentation and everything. Now we don't want this from any particular file, we want it from a join. So let's see, we'll take all the columns, but let's see from where we are going to take all this data. So this data has to be taken from a join of current landing and previous held. Landing file df, and let's give an alias for this. Let's take as A and join. Now we'll come to what type of join we are going to take here. But as of now, join previous held data. Let's give a name as B. Now let's say what type of join you want. By default, if you take join, it will do an inner join. What inner join will do? It will only give you the matching records. So there were two sales, sale 3 and sale 10, for which we received the update. So if we do a normal join just with a join keyword, it will do an inner join, and to refresh landing you will get only those two records. So all the updated records will get messed up. So what we have to do, we have to consider all the records from latest file along with the matching records of the previous head. So for that reason we are doing the left outer join. So just for a clarification, let me remove this and show you how you get the joined output. That will make things more clear to you. Let me remove this, select star. Just you will have an overview like how you should be expecting the data in case of join you are doing. And also along with the type of join, you have to mention how it is going to join, what condition you are going to provide it. So that you will have to give the on keyword. On what values? So obviously in our case the sale ID is going to be matched. So we have to give the alias a dot sale ID needs to be equal to b dot sale ID. So first let's see the join output, then we will make our query changes for our requirement. Here refresh landing data dot show. As I told you, the spark.sql will return a data frame, and to see a data frame you have to do dot show. And right now I'm just reading today's data and not doing any filtering and all. I'm just reading today's data and reading previous held data, and both the data we already have. So let me comment this for now. Let's try to run this. So this is how your join looks like. You can see we are getting all the data. There is no issue. All the new records as well as the updated records. But on the other hand, when we are joining, you can see this is how from here till sale currency, this is the first, the updated records, and with the join, same way you will get the previous records, that is the previous held ones. Just in left outer join, what will happen, this is the new file, so we have all the values. In left outer join, if anything is matching from the left one means the new file. How it considers left is, if you mention left outer join, so the table name on the left, that is landing file, that means current day suffix, that is the current file. So current data will be on the left, and on the right, whatever it is, that will be considered as the right data frame. So all the data from the left and only the matching records from the right. So what records are matching? You can see here only these records, and these records are not matching, so we'll get the null for that, whatever records are not matching. So this is how left outer join works. Now let's go back to our requirement. We have our left outer join. Now we don't need star, obviously, because we have to manipulate few columns inside this. So sale ID and product ID will go as it is because there are no change here. So select sale ID and product ID with a comma. With this we have to mention the alias as well. So a.sale ID. Yes, why? Because anything in sale ID and product ID, I just want the latest one. As per our discussed use case, we are not touching sale ID and product ID. If you want, you can change anytime. Just play around with the code, you have it. And A means new record from the product ID. Now coming to quantity sold, which is where we have to do this game. Now when you have to put some conditions in Spark SQL, you can easily make use of case and when statements. That is very useful in such kind of use cases. So how we use is, you have to write case along with when. These two clauses you can mention. How it works is, it will create columns as you are mentioning the comma. So first column in this data frame will be the first statement after your select. This will automatically become the first column. This will automatically become the next column. And after the comma, what we have is case. So whatever this case and when statement will give in their entire scope, that will automatically become the third column for this. This is how that case and when works in case we use in Spark SQL. So let's create a quantity sold column as per our requirement. So inside when, we have to consider the latest quantity sold first of all, a dot quantity sold. Now we are checking in case when the latest quantity sold, if this is null, I mean in the new record, if we are not receiving anything, in that case what we have to consider, like here we told, this is the quantity sold column suppose. So in the new date, if we are not receiving anything, what we have to consider is the previous one. So same thing we will mention here. A dot quantity sold is null, just condition you can mention, and then along with when you have to mention whatever step you are going to take in case the when condition is true, you have to mention it like then. Then what we have to take, B dot quantity sold. So hope that makes sense. If A dot quantity sold, that is the latest day, current day, if this is null, then B dot quantity sold, that means the previous. So even if all the columns were received yesterday, today only the updated column has come. You don't have to make it null, you have to consider the previous day. If not, we will mention like else. Else what we have to take? Else we have to take the new value only. And how you have to end this statement? Case statement can be end by the keyword end. As simple as that. So let me make it clear again. In this new data frame, first column will be sale ID, second column will be product ID, and third column will be, in case you are using the case statement, whenever this case statement ends. So whatever this block will give you, that will automatically become the third column. Hope that is clear. And you can give the name for this column using the as keyword. So as we will use same quantity sold. So all these computations will be done, and whatever values are coming, we will mention it as quantity sold. So very beautifully we have calculated our required scenario, and we have maintained the same structure: sale ID, product ID, and quantity sold, the next column. Now exactly same thing we have to do for the next column as vendor ID. So let me copy this again till here. The same way, case when, in this case it will be vendor ID, then b dot vendor ID, and else a dot vendor ID, and as vendor ID. Same scenario. So till vendor ID it's fine, and after that we are not doing anything. If you want, again you can play around. As of this video, I'll just take after vendor ID, all other columns will be as it is. So A, the latest one, comma A dot sale amount dot sale currency. And make sure guys you enter, in case you are doing multi-line queries, you make one space after the last thing, because it considers as a multiple querying. If you are doing, if you don't mention space, it will consider it directly after this. So it will be currency YFROM like that. So maintain one space after this, or maintain one space here. From landing file df as a outer join, that is fine. Now let's see what we are getting in our final data output. So we have few errors. It's good to have errors in case we have to troubleshoot. So you can see SQL case when, as I told, we might have missed a space somewhere. So this case we have mentioned, we have forgot to mention one space. Let us see, here also we have forgot. Rest of it looks fine. Let's run again. Always guys, when you receive error, just don't panic. Just read the error carefully. That is a hell lot of important. Debugging is more important than coding. Again we have received something. Okay, sale date case when, this is null then. So it's saying input case expecting end of line. So in case end we might have, okay, you can see in this case end we have not mentioned the comma. So this column will be the third column, then with comma separated we have to give the fourth column. So that we have forgot, and I think here also we have forgot. So first, second, third column, comma, fourth column, comma, fifth, sixth, and so on. So I hope now it should work at least. And yes, we are getting the output. Let's see, is it correct or not? So this is the final refresh data for today. As today we have received all this, but let's actually open what we received today and see our data is getting refreshed correctly or not. So for 3, we have received the quantity sold as 4, correct, but we have not received the vendor ID. And you can see very beautifully vendor ID is getting from the previous hold, and in previous hold the quantity sold was not there. That is why it was going for hold, but quantity sold has been taken from the current date. So finally in refresh zone for today that we have to read, we have the previous data whatever was matching. So only we received update for 3 and 10. So now we have only updates for 3 and 10. Along with that, now we have the updates for which it was being held, because that is received today, and all the valid data which was there in the previous day. So this sounds valid now, as you can see. Similarly for 10, today we have received this was being held due to missing vendor ID. So today we have received the vendor ID, and similarly today it is updated. Now let's try one more thing. What if in today's data this GKS 10, this provides update for quantity sold, which was not maybe received properly. Earlier it was maybe 2, Now we are getting update it as 8. So right now it should consider the latest data. We are updating the latest data, that is for 5th. So right now it should not consider 2, which was earlier. It should consider 8. Let me try to run this again. Correct. So our code will consider only the latest data. In case it is null, it will consider the previous data. So now what we have ready with us is the logic to take the latest data and the previous data only for the updates being received, and we have final refreshed data. Now in this data, in case any record is valid or invalid, that will be considered today. So as our business told, in case a new record is received, you have to start processing it. So as per our earlier code till what we have built now, we can clearly see that this record is valid and it will surely process today, because our mentioned columns quantity sold, vendor ID is valid today. So now in place of landing zone, we have to consider this refreshed one. So now let us see what are the next steps to be taken.